All right, guys, hope all is well. I am going to do a video about silver. I've been trading this for this week, and I've actually had some really nice trades off it, and I feel like this could definitely help everyone. Quick rundown, nothing really amazing that much has happened this week. A few things not really had any breaks of structure that I'm really kind of looking for. AU was in this, not in this anymore, just took it out small profit. So yeah, nothing really too amazing. Again, euro pound, I was in this from this 30-minute. This is when market opened, come down, liquidated. I did want to see if we were going to break this zone. Tried. We had a small shift of momentum here. I did take a loss on this one here, and I closed my previous position here because I don't really like holding trades over the weekend, or I'm not actually going to be available, so I'm not going to be able to look at it and things. And so what's the point? So that was euro pound. I really want to see if I can have a bit more of a deeper look to see what's going to happen with this. Realistically, we are bearish, I know. I did think we could have just ran out some of this momentum. We had a lot of we had a bullish move here up into the supply zone, and then we had this correction. I thought this was going to be like a nice test and the sweep, and then we were going to have like a continuation high. Nothing really too much. I was even expecting to come into 86500 range, 86500 nice psych level. We didn't meet it. That's fine. It doesn't always have to happen. Is what it is. But let's kind of check out what the rest of it's saying. So again, gold, there was a couple nice opportunities. First opportunity was off this hourly zone. We continued push higher. My targets would have definitely been into this small imbalance zone in here, so that would have actually been achieved. Price came all the way back down, testing this guy in here, and then we continued high. So again, gold, nice opportunities as well. Silver, though, this is the one pair that I was really wanting to talk to you guys about. Really clean setups on silver. Daily, we are bullish at this current point. We have come into the 50% zone. So I did want to see if we could get some small retracements back up into here before actually potentially coming down into this weekly point. What I do think we could happen is potentially a nice move like this. Maybe that could be a possibility, or we could kind of just be pushing up a little bit more. But so far we've had some nice trades. So was looking to see from last week, and we swept this low. We came in, we mitigated. This was my first entry of this 30-minute zone. I was looking for a zone off here because all of this supply and demand zone is lining up. But what we did, we generate liquidity. We ran this low, took a small loss here, and then price give us our confirmation, which is this shift and break here. So I'm just looking for the zone that caused that shift to actually look to trade from. So again, orders are placed. This is my entry, and then it just rode. There were other other opportunities in and around here, but I wasn't really looking at anything too amazing. I did have a small opportunity within this zone, and I did close them out here. What I was also looking at was another trade that was off this 30-minute zone in here. So I was looking for the open of this 30-minute zone, and I had another trade at the 50%. But what you can see has happened is we had, let's go back. So first of all, when price was actually pumping and continuing, the first time we had kind of crossed the EMAs was down here. You can see we had a lot of bearish movement. We started crossing the EMAs here, and then you can see price was just the flow, just like looking at the flow of the market, like you can see it's just looking to kind of like expand a bit more. So understanding and seeing things like this can be really beneficial. Understanding where structure actually is and what actually things are doing. I can imagine when we had this buy to sell movement, there were a lot of people that were trading from this, and don't get me wrong, that would have been fine. You could have come in and potentially like closed out your trades here, but just like I always say this to people, just because there's a liquidation doesn't mean it's a change in direction. And yes, technically we did actually change direction, but we didn't really do anything that crazy. So not only have we got the high from Friday, which is up here, and we've got liquidity resting above here, prices come down, and previous days before we create this big down move, we swept liquidity and then we pushed and then we pumped. So really and truly for me, I'm only really going to be looking for price to go bearish once this whole supply zone is actually being invalidated. So we had this London low, price come into the New York session, we took that, we raided it, and then out of this London session, we actually closed above and we actually swept the Asian session. From there, I was looking for a zone either in here or just looking for this whole major zone just off this hourly. Let me go on the hour time frame, you can see it. Yeah, so from this hourly open down to there, you can see this is the 50% of this move. Price then came in and tested really, really nice, the 50% of this zone, and then we actually started to continue high. So I did actually get an entry here, and then as market was closing, I actually closed out my trade here because I don't really like holding my trades overnight just because of charges and things. And through the Asian, we came all the way back down, and I had an order here at the open of that 15-minute, and I also had an order at the 50% of the, actually, no, that's a lie. Actually, I didn't have an order. And I was looking for 50% of this 15-minute zone. If we swipe that 15-minute zone down to a time frame for the 5-minute, you can see that 5-minute is lining up really, really nicely with that zone of interest. So I waited to see what sort of reactions we were having in and around this zone. It was even on a 1-minute. So when we were in and around this zone, for me, just as London opened, you can see we had this high, and already just on a time frame, this is just like a sell to buy. That's literally what it is. Whenever, this is why it's so crucial to be looking at different session opens and things, because you can understand what's happening in the session opens and the session closes and the crossovers and things, like it gives you so much more of a clearer bias. And the market providers are always communicating, they're always talking with each other. So they're going to be telling each other where points of interest are and things that they want to be taken out into potential targets for the day and the week. So it's really important to be looking at these different session timings. So again, we have 1, 2, 3. This is that third major drive, but this had already been a test of that 5-minute. So as price was actually starting to push up, I literally entered here, literally have my stop loss just at the low, and then rode it all the way up. So this trade did actually turn out to be a 19% R, or I made 19 times my risk on this trade. And then obviously targets were open. So for me, whenever I'm trading, this was the actual setup for the first order, and then I scaled in. So even from here, this is a 1 to 4, 4.5 times your risk on this trade that I was looking for alone. And then the 19R plus that, so that's like 23R in 2 trades basically. So one, I find whenever I'm looking for a higher time frame POI like this 30-minute, once this trade is actually triggered, I then actually like to look down and see what's happening on the lower time frames to see if then I can actually get that other trade which can potentially bring me more risk to reward. So my overall targets on silver was actually these equal highs in here, and potentially I want to see if this balance can get hit. But first of all, I was looking through here. So yesterday, when price had came out of this zone, we broke structures, we pushed, we liquidated, and we came all the way back down, and we literally came all the way back down into that last hour move, which caused that pump. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't actually in this trade, but I actually did have this trade set up. There was no excuse, to be honest with you. I just wasn't really looking at it. So this trade actually did pretty much like my weak target. So really kind of looking for more opportunities and things. Sometimes like you need to just know when to chill. But had I was also looking at this more, you could have easily had your hourly zone as your open. Personally, for me, I would have definitely had my stop loss still at the previous low from where price was before, because you can see in history we've had a liquidation, we've had a test, price come down, liquidated it, and then we actually continue. So that doesn't mean that price could not have potentially come down to here, we could have just liquidated it, come into this low, and then actually continued higher. But again, even just having that risk reward, all of these trades were the same. So this again was another 5R. So this one, which is, well, no, let's not do that. Let's just do it for the week. So we had a 19R plus 4, that's 23, plus 5, that's 27. So 27 times your risk in literally 3 days, just by fully understanding what is actually happening and understanding different session timings. And you can see even where price is moving, we're following the whole mitigation trails above. And yes, on the 15-minute, you can see this would have stumped a lot of people out, but realistically, that's just intermediate like structures, and you need to be able to understand what is actually a liquidation and what is actually a breaker structure. So this has been quite a nice week on silver. I'm going to be quite excited to see the opportunities that lay ahead going into next week. If you guys have got any questions about this, please let me know. Feel free to fire away, and I will help everyone as much as I can. All right, guys. Bye.